The sun was cruel, scorching everything it touched. The land lay broken under its weight, the ground cracked and thirsty. Heat shimmered in the air like glass, bending the horizon into a wavering dream. In the middle of that burning emptiness, a young woman stumbled through the tall, dead grass. Her wrists were tied in front of her, the rope cutting deep into her skin until it turned raw and red. Every breath came in short, uneven gasps. Each step was a battle she was losing. She fell hard. The ground tore at her knees, dust filled her mouth, choking her. For a long moment, she stayed there, pressed against the earth as if the sun itself was punishing her. Then, through the blur of heat and tears, she saw something ahead, a broken barrel, half buried in the dry soil. Crawling forward, she dragged her bound hands like chains. The wood splintered beneath her fingers when she tried to pull herself up, but she leaned against it anyway. It was all she had left to hold on to. Her dress was torn and stained with dirt and blood. Her hair clung to her face in sticky, tangled strands. Flies gathered on her arms and lips, feeding on the open wounds. She tried to brush them away, but her strength was gone. Her whisper came dry as sand. "Please, God, not like this." Then came the sound of hooves. Slow. Steady. Closer. Her body tensed, eyes darting to the horizon. A horse. A rider. Tall, silent, shadowed by the blazing sun behind him. Panic flared inside her, but her body wouldn't move. She pressed her forehead against the hot wood of the barrel and whispered, "Not again. Please, not again." The rider stopped a few paces away. The horse snorted, pawing at the dirt. Boots hit the ground. Spurs jingled softly. A shadow fell across her. She turned her head slightly, eyes half open, her vision swimming. The man's face was hidden by the glare, but she saw the gun on his hip. Her heart pounded once, twice, then steadied into a hollow rhythm. Her voice was barely a breath. "Don't untie me. Just do it." The man stood still. Even the wind seemed to stop. Only the flies buzzed. He looked down at her, seeing the bruises, the brand on her arm, the dirt pressed into every line of her face. He removed his hat, the sunlight revealing a weathered man of 58. His name was Jack Callahan, a man who had lost everything but still carried the burden of doing what was right. He had seen death before, had caused it. But this was different. This was cruelty written on a human body. He knelt beside her. "Miss," he said softly, "you're safe now." She laughed weakly, a sound that broke before it finished. "Safe? There's no safe. Not while he's still breathing." Jack's eyes narrowed. "Who?" "Wade," she whispered. Her head dropped forward, her body going limp. Jack caught her before she hit the ground. Her skin burned with fever, her pulse faint. He lifted her easily, staring out toward the horizon. The name Wade echoed in his mind. Old, bitter, familiar. This wasn't chance. He looked down at her tied wrists and raw skin, then muttered to himself, "All right, miss. You picked the wrong man to beg from, 'cause I ain't the one who'll kill you." He lifted her onto his horse and rode toward the valley. The sun blazed behind them, and somewhere far away, a crow cried out. At the ranch, he stood for a long moment, looking down at the girl in his arms. The ropes around her wrists looked older than her fear. He took out his pocketknife, cut them loose, and watched her flinch as the tension snapped. "Easy now," he murmured. She didn't respond. Her eyes rolled back, her body still. He carried her inside, laid her on a cot, and brought her water. Her lips moved faintly when he touched the jug to them, but she didn't wake. When her eyes finally opened hours later, she reached for her wrists, staring at the rope burns, then at him. "You untied me," she whispered. "Seemed like the decent thing to do," Jack said. "Why help me? You don't even know me." "Guess I don't need to." You look like someone who's had enough hurt for one lifetime. My name's Clara, she said softly. I was a teacher once, back east. What were you doing out here, Clara? She hesitated. I thought I was coming to teach. They said it was a school. It wasn't. Her voice cracked on the last word. Jack didn't press. He'd seen enough to know the rest. Outside, the wind picked up, carrying the scent of rain far in the distance. The next morning was still and heavy. Jack watered the horses while Clara sat on the porch wrapped in an old shirt, watching the horizon. She didn't talk much. Neither did he. By noon, the air smelled of dust and storm. That's when he heard hooves again, this time from the south road. A single rider. A woman. She slid off her horse before it even stopped, her dress covered in trail dust. Jack stared, then frowned. Eliza Reed. You look like hell. Eliza's face was pale, her hands trembling. I didn't know where else to go. What happened? She didn't answer. She reached into her saddlebag and pulled out a small wooden box. I brought something. You need to see it. Jack took the box. Inside were papers, letters, names, receipts, money. And one thing that made his stomach twist, Tom's handwriting. Eliza, he said quietly. What is this? It's everything Wade's been doing. And Tom's part in it. Her voice broke. I begged him to stop. But he said Wade owns him. Said the only way out is death. Jack's jaw tightened. The papers told a story of trafficking, of men and money, and women who never came back. He closed the box slowly. You shouldn't have brought this here. If Wade finds out, he'll send men. I know, she whispered. That's why I came. You're the only one he's afraid of. Jack didn't answer. He turned toward the horizon, the light hard against his face. Clara stepped out onto the porch, her eyes wide when she saw Eliza. 3 lives, bound together now by fear and the shadow of one man. Jack looked down at the box again and muttered, if Wade's coming, then hell's coming with him. The sun hit hard that morning as he rode out. Behind him, the ranch shrank into the shimmering heat. Ahead, the plain stretched toward the broken church Eliza had described. She had begged him not to go alone. Clara had said nothing, just watched him ride away, her eyes heavy with the kind of fear that meant goodbye. By the time he reached the church, the world was silent except for the flies. The steeple leaned, the doors hung open. Jack dismounted, tied his horse, and called out, anyone here? A voice answered from the shadows. Always thought you'd die slow, Captain. Jack turned. Corbin. Wade's right hand. Once, they'd fought together. So Wade sent you? Jack asked. Corbin smiled. He sent me to remind you where you stand. Jack's hand rested near his revolver. I'm not standing in his business. I'm cleaning it up. Corbin's grin faded. Silence hung between them. You could still walk away, Jack said. 2 guns cleared leather. One shot cracked the silence. Dust jumped from the ground. Jack staggered back, his shoulder burning. Corbin fell to his knees, blood dark against the dirt. Jack stood breathing hard, gun smoking. Near Corbin's hand lay a brass lighter. Jack picked it up, reading the scratched letters, T.C., Tom Callahan. His brother's name. The wind shifted, carrying the smell of rain and gunpowder. Jack closed his fist around the lighter. All right, little brother, he muttered. If that's how it is, then come find me. Thunder rolled across the plains as the first drops of rain hit the dirt. Somewhere far beyond the storm, Tom Callahan was already riding home. The rain came hard that night, washing the blood from the land. Jack rode through it, pressing one hand to his wound, whispering his brother's name with every breath. When he reached the ranch, lightning lit the valley. Clara stood on the porch holding a lantern. Inside, Eliza screamed. Jack ran in. Tom was there. Wet. Angry. Gun in hand. His eyes were full of shame. Why, Tom? Jack's voice was tired. You could have been better. I tried, Tom said, shaking. But Wade owns everything. The law, the people, me. You made your choice, Jack said quietly. You can still choose again. Tom's hand trembled. Then came the single shot that ended it. When the smoke cleared, Tom lay still. Jack knelt beside him, tears mixing with rain. Being decent never saved anyone, Tom whispered. It saved you now, Jack said softly. Outside, the storm faded. The world grew quiet again. Jack stepped onto the porch where Clara and Eliza waited. He said nothing. He just nodded once. By dawn, the sky was clear. Jack saddled 2 horses and handed Clara an old, tattered book. Keep this, he said. Teach again. Make it mean something. She smiled faintly. You're coming with us. Jack looked toward the hills. I'll ride a while. There's still work to finish. As the sun rose, the land gleamed clean and new. Sometimes decency didn't change the world. But it changed the hearts still willing to listen. And maybe that was enough.